Hey team, it's Mr. Z. We're going to continue our adventure through practicing for the summative. I do want to go over a couple of things right now. Notice how number 7, it was really easy to use the zero product property to factor. Number 8 would be the same thing. You would use your factoring skills to rewrite it as a product, which is equal to 0, and then you would solve. Let's go ahead and dive in on something more complex though. Number 9. Woo! Okay, so notice number 8. I can transform it into standard or factored form from standard form. However, number 9, notice that guy. Notice it. It looks like Vertex form. So in order to factor it, the idea is that I'm going to get everything on the left side. I'm also going to make sure everything's expanded. So I'm going to actually see this square and rewrite it in my head as x plus 3 times x plus 3 minus 20 equals 12. I power that out and it becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 20 equals 12. I distribute. And it becomes 2x squared plus 12x minus 2 equals 12. Now at this point you might think you're done. But remember, we can only use the zero product property when it's equal to 0. So I'm going to use my inverses to subtract 12 from both sides, thus resulting in 2x squared plus 12x minus 14 equals 0. Now, standard form. Notice how I used all of the properties at once. Now the reason I'm going to take a moment and think, I could go quadratic formula at this point, but I see a common coefficient of 2. Since I'm going to be solving it, I'm going to go ahead and represent this as 2 times 1x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Both of these are equivalent equations. The reason why I'm going to use the one on the bottom is because 1x squared plus 6x minus 7 is going to be easier to factor. 1x squared, negative 7, and then I need to get 6x. How do I get 6x? Well, let's do 1x and 1x, and then it's going to be 7 and 1. I need a positive 6. So let me have my positive 7 be bigger, because 7 and negative 1 makes 6x. Thus, I have my factored form is 2 times x plus 7, x minus 1. This right here, all equal to 0, is what I'm going to use for my answer. The zero product property now comes into play. I'm going to go ahead, what number? X plus 7 makes it 0, and that's negative 7. X minus 1 equals 0. What number makes it 0? 1. The solution to this equation is negative 7 and 1. Number 10, I would do something similar. I would get everything on one side. I would minus 3, resulting in x squared plus 9x minus 3 equals 0. Now, I would try to factor it for a while, but that would not be effective. The reason being is I see that this number in 9x, using just 3, there is no way to produce the 9. So I would resort to the quadratic formula, and I would go ahead and have all of your values set up so you can easily represent. It would be x equals negative 9 plus or minus the square root. What is 9 squared? 81 minus 4 times 1 times negative 3 all over 2 times 1. I'm going to simplify it. Negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 81 plus 12 over 2, thus turning into x equals negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 93 over 2. This is going to turn into two answers. This is going to turn into solution 1, where it's negative 9 plus the square root of 93 over 2, and solution 2, where it's going to be minus the square root of 93 over 2. The idea is that if you can't factor it, use the quadratic formula. All right, that's it for part 2. Hope this helps.